माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धारी जय गिरिवर धारी जय यशोदा नंदना जय प्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदानंद ना जय ब्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रजजन रंजना जय यशोदानंदना जय ब्रजजन रंजना जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्री गोपाल जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुदारमाई की जय राधा माधव की जय नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय पंच तत्व की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय गुरुदेव की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shri Vyasadeva, the author. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So, Hare Krishna Prabhu's Mataji, welcome all of you for this Srimad Bhagavatam session. Today we'll be discussing a new chapter from Canto 4, chapter number 2. The title of the chapter is Daksha curses Lord Shiva. So, three verses we'll be discussing. Let us start. Vidurovacha Bhave Shilavatiam Shreshte Daksho Duhitra Vatsalaha Vidvesham Akarot Kasmad Anadrityatmajam Satim Vidurovacha Bhave Shilavatam Shreshte Daksho Duhitra Vatsalah Vidvesham Akarot Kasmat Anadrityatmajam Satim. Anybody would like to recite? Only one devotee, each verse one devotee.
Can I recite, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Vidurauvacha Bhave Shilavatam Shreshte Daksho Duhitruvatsalah Vitvesham Akarot Kasmat Anadrutyatmajam Satim. Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad.
The word-to-word meaning synonyms. Viduruvacha, Vidura said, Bhave towards Lord Shiva. Shilavatam, among the gentle. Shreshte, the best. Dakshaha, Daksha. Duhitra Vatsalaha, being affectionate towards his daughter. Vidvesham, enmity. Akarot, did exhibit. Kasmat, why? Anadritya, neglecting. Atmajam, his own daughter. Satim, Sati. Translation and purport by Divine Shiva Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation purport. Vidura inquired, why was Daksha, who was so affectionate towards his daughter, envious of Lord Shiva, who is the best among the gentle? Why did he neglect his daughter, Sati? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the second chapter of the fourth canto, the cause of the dissension between Lord Shiva and Daksha, which was due to a great sacrifice arranged by Daksha for the pacification of the entire universe, is explained. Lord Shiva is described here as the best of the gentle because he is not envious of anyone. He is equal to all living entities, and all other good qualities are present in his personality. The word Shiva means all auspicious. No one can be an enemy of Lord Shiva, for he is so peaceful and renounced that he does not even construct a house for his residence, but lives underneath a tree, always detached from all worldly things. The personality of Lord Shiva symbolizes the best of gentleness. Then why was Daksha, who was offered his beloved daughter to such a gentle personality, inimical towards Lord Shiva so intensely that Sati, the daughter of Daksha and wife of Lord Shiva, gave up her body? Verse number 2. Kastam charachara gurum nirvairam shanta vigraham atma ramam katham dveshti jagato daivatam mahat. Kastam charachara gurum nirvairam shanta vigraham Atma Ramam Katam Dveshti Jagato Daivatam Mahat. Yes, anybody would like to recite?
Yes, Prabhuji. Shall I?
Yes, ma'am.
Kastam chara gurum nirvairam shanta vigraham atma ramam katam dvesti jagato daivatam mahat. Hare Krishna
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Vishnu. Synonymous word to word meaning. Kaha, who, Daksha, Tam, him, Lord Shiva, Charachara, of the whole world, both animate and inanimate, Gurum, the spiritual master, Nirvairam, without enmity, Shanta Vigraham, having a peaceful personality, Atma Aramam, satisfied in himself, Tatam, how, Dveshti, hates, Jagataha, of the universe, Daivatam, demigod, Mahat, the great. Translation and purport by Johann Prabhupada, teacher. Translation: Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the entire world, is free from enmity, is a peaceful personality, and is always satisfied in himself. He is the greatest among the demigods. How is it possible that Daksha could be inimical towards such an auspicious personality? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Shiva is described here as Charachara Guru, the spiritual master of all animate and inanimate objects. He is sometimes known as Bhutanatha, which means the worshipable deity of the dull-headed. Bhuta is also sometimes taken to indicate the ghosts. Lord Shiva takes charge of reforming persons who are ghosts and demons, not to speak of others who are godly. Therefore, he is a spiritual master of everyone, both the dull and demoniac and the highly learned Vaishnavas. It is also stated, Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhuhu. Shambhu, Lord Shiva, is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. On one hand, he is a worshipable object of the dull demons. And on the other, he is the best of all Vaishnavas or devotees, and he has a sampradaya called Rudra Sampradaya. Even if he is an enemy or is sometimes angry, such a personality cannot be an object of envy. So Vidura, in astonishment, asked why he was taken as such, especially by Daksha. Daksha is also not an ordinary person. He is a Prajapati in charge of fathering population. And all his daughters are highly elevated, especially Sati. The word Sati means the most chaste. Whenever there is consideration of chastity, Sati, this wife of Lord Shiva and daughter of Daksha, is considered first. Vidura was therefore astonished. Daksha is such a great man, he thought, and is the father of Sati. And Lord Shiva is the spiritual master of everyone. How then could there possibly be so much enmity between them that Sati, the most chaste goddess, could give up her body because of their quarrel? Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Go to the third verse. Etad akyahi me brahman jamatu shvasurasya cha vidveshastu yata pranams tatyaje dustejan sati. Etad akyahi me brahman jamatu shvasurasya cha vidveshastu yata pranams tatyaje dustejan sati. Anybody wants to recite? Only one devotee, please.
Hare Krishna, may I recite, Prabhu?
Yes, Madam.
Etad akyahi me brahman jamatu shvasurasya cha vidveshastu yatah pranams tatyaje dushtayajan sati. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Synonyms word to word meaning. Etat, thus. Akyahi, please tell. Me, to me. Brahman, O Brahmana. Jamatuhu, of the son-in-law, Lord Shiva. Shvasurasya, of the father-in-law, Daksha. Cha, and Vidvesha, quarrel. Tu, as to. Yataha, from what cause? Pranan, her life. Tatyaje, gave up. Dustyajan, which is impossible to give up. Sati, Sati. Translation by Divine Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Maitreya, to part with one's life is very difficult. Would you kindly explain to me how such a son-in-law and father-in-law could quarrel so bitterly that the great goddess Sati could give up her life? Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Om Gyanandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swavadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanadhaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagananita Shri Vishakha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु भयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचि इमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयति अखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यां च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणानमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लम्बेते गिरिवत्पाठनमोदे परमानन्दं नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय महाविष्णुस्वामिने So, first of all, very happy Narasimha Jayanti to everyone. So, very, very auspicious occasion today. It's all the more auspicious to speak Bhagavatam, hear Bhagavatam, and be associated with the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in this chapter, that is fourth canto, second chapter, Vidura is inquiring Maitri Muni about why Daksha Prajapati, why was he envious of Lord Shiva? Because Shiva is actually Shilavatam Shreshte, best among the gentle. So Maitreya Muni begins to narrate how Daksha was always inimical to his dealings with Lord Shiva, and about the ill treatment done by Daksha to Lord Shiva in the sacrifice that was arranged by the Prajapatis. So when Daksha entered the sacrificial arena, no, Shiva was in trance, and so he did not get up from his seat to welcome him. But what happened? This triggered the anger of Daksha, who considered it as a great offense. See, every other person in that sacrificial arena stood up. Now, Lord Brahma, being the father of Daksha, he did not stand. But he welcomed him and offered him a seat. Unfortunately, Daksha, due to his crooked mind, no, instead of feeling happy for the warm welcome done by others, he started complaining to everyone that Lord Shiva was intentionally disrespecting him. That's why in this chapter, in the 16th verse, Daksha is still telling that on the request of Lord Brahma, I handed over my chaste daughter to him. Although he is devoid of all cleanliness and his heart is filled with nasty things. See, in this creation, no, everyone are part and parcel of Supreme Lord Krishna. So if we have this vision, this means it is a sign of maturity that we are all part and parcel. But unfortunately, when we fail to see Krishna in others, then we start looking at everyone on a bodily platform. And then we try to judge them based on their external appearances. See, appearances are always deceptive, right? Because our senses are limited and contaminated also. So Lord Shiva, who is glorified as the best Vaishnava, he was wrongly considered by Daksha as Unmadanatha, that is the Lord of the ghosts. And he says Nashta Shauchaya, being devoid of all cleanliness. And Dunhade, that is heart filled with nasty things. This is what he was telling. Actually, Lord Shiva is all auspicious. His heart is always filled with Krishna. And he's always eager to give Krishna to all, even to demonic people. So Krishna says in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krodha, anger, and leads to Buddhi Nasha, loss of intelligence. So blinded by anger, no, Daksha not only blasphemes Lord Shiva, but he ends up foolishly accusing Lord Brahmaji also. So Prabhupada very nicely says in the purport, Daksha was so angry that he did not acknowledge that the request from his father, acknowledge that the request was from his father. Instead, he referred to Brahma as Parameshti, supreme teacher in the universe, because of his temperament of gross anger, no. So he was not even prepared to accept Brahma as his father. So he accused even Brahma of being less intelligent because he had advised, because he has advised Daksha to hand over his beautiful daughter to such a nasty fellow. So in anger, one forgets everything. So Daksha in anger not only accused the great Lord Shiva, but criticized his own father, Lord Brahma, for his not very astute advice, no, that Daksha had to hand over his daughter to Lord Shiva. See, this pastime is a warning for all of us. Many times when we are angry with someone and constantly meditate about the unpleasant incidents which happened with that person, we not only curse that person alone, but end up blaming and finding faults with all others who are related to that person also. So all such things distract and deviates us from our own progress in life. See, we are here from Guru, Sadhus and Shastras, okay? How it is very important for us to meditate on good qualities of others instead of meditating on the bad qualities. So if our mind is very rebellious and doesn't want to think of any good qualities in the person whom we are angry with, we should at least some or other drag our mind to Krishna Katha. See, by doing re-telecast, we have a telecast, right? So by doing re-telecast of the unpleasant moments in our life within our mind, we are wasting our valuable time and energy and also others. And by broadcasting it to everyone we meet, we are wasting everyone's time and energy. So instead, there should be only continuous broadcast of Krishna Katha, because this alone can save us from the pitfall of anger. So in this chapter, the 4th canto, 2nd chapter, Maitreya Muni very nicely narrates to Vidura about the dealings between Daksha Prajapati and Lord Shiva. So these pastimes, they teach us how in messy situations in our lives, we should behave like Lord Shiva. And how important it is that we should not behave like Daksha. See, on introspection, we can find that how in our day-to-day lives, many times we behave or commit mistakes like Daksha. Daksha is the son of Lord Brahma, right? He is a Prajapati, one of the chief progenitors in the universe. And Daksha, his very name means expert. And he is a proud father of 16 daughters, including Mother Sati. Also, one of his daughter, Murti, who is married to great sage Dharma, is the mother of Sri Naranarana Rishi. So once Marichi, Daksha, and Vashishta, so all these Prajapatis, they conducted a sacrifice to pacify all the living entities in the universe. So Bhagavata mentions that when Daksha entered the sacrificial arena, his presence was so lustrous that it diminished the shine of other demigods who were present there. But unfortunately, in spite of all these opulences, he was infected by pride, envy. So as a result, he was always looking out for recognition. So in case of Daksha, we find that when he entered the arena, we saw all the members, everybody, great sages, demigods, Prajapatis were there. They all got up from their seat and offered their respects to him. But Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva did not get up from their seats. Now Brahmaji being father, he welcomed Daksha and requested him to sit. But since Daksha's heart was tormented by anarthas, like envy and pride, instead of being pleased with whatever recognition or sweet words he received from everyone, he simply became very upset with Lord Shiva for not offering him respects. That's why in the 9th verse of this chapter, we will see later, Daksha is telling, all sages, brahmanas, and fire gods present, please hear me with attention. For I speak about the manners of gentle persons. Indirect, I did not speak out of ignorance or envy. So Prabhupada very nicely mentions in the purport 4 to 9. As far as envy is concerned, from the very beginning, he was envious of Lord Shiva. Therefore, he could not distinguish his own particular envy. Although he spoke like a man in ignorance, he wanted to cover his statements, by saying that he was not speaking for impudent, envious persons. And he then begins to blaspheme Lord Shiva. You can see in the 12th verse, which is there, where he says, he has eyes like monkeys, yet he has married my daughter, whose eyes are just like those of a deer cub. Nevertheless, he did not stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words. So, see that this hankering for recognition is a real stumbling block in the progress of devotional service. So, from the actions of Daksha, we can understand that when we are proud, three things. Number one, when we are proud, what happens? One, we fail to see our own anarthas. Number two, we fail to see the good qualities in others. And number three, we foolishly claim or justify that we are good when we are actually not good. So we fail to see our own anarthas, we fail to see the good qualities in others, and we foolishly claim or justify that we are good when we are actually not good. See, sacrifices are done for satisfaction of Krishna and his devotees, to glorify the Lord and to please him. Nothing else should be our motive when we do any sacrifice or service. But unfortunately, even while executing the service, seva, we keep looking for recognition. We should remind ourselves that our real goal is to simply please Guru and Krishna. See, my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, he says, while doing service, we should be like salt in food. While doing service, we should be like salt in food. See, although food is not palatable without salt, salt does not make itself visible or hanker for any recognition, right? So we should be like that. So let us learn the exalted characteristics and glories of Lord Shiva. See, in Bhagavatam 12, 13, 16, it is said, Vaishnavanam yatha shambhuhu. Lord Shiva is the greatest of the Vaishnavas. See, Lord Shiva, he exemplifies the perfect mood of a Vaishnava and is known for his spirit of compassion. After passing through the 8 material coverings, which we see in the Bhagavatam, after crossing the Viraja river, the river that divides the material world and the spiritual world, and the planet of Lord Brahma, after crossing this, the highest material planet, one comes to the planet of Shiva. There he is known as Sadashiva, a manifestation of Lord Vishnu. So let us see the wonderful character of Lord Shiva and his glories, right? Number one, Lord Shiva teaches pure devotional service. See, many of Lord Shiva's pastimes are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is, see, Bhagavatam is the topmost scripture and discusses no subject other than Krishna and pure devotional service. So these pastimes with Lord Shiva shows his true nature or his internal mood, as a great Vaishnava, a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. See, Shiva is constantly immersed in offering prayers and meditating on the Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva is one of the four primary spiritual masters. Others are Brahma, Lakshmiji, and Kumaras. So Lord Shiva, he teaches pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord Krishna. So the factual service to Lord Shiva, what is our service to Lord Shiva? It should be to follow his instructions to worship and chant the holy names of Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva, while he was instructing the Prachetas in Bhagavatam with the prayers to satisfy the Supreme Lord, the Prachetas, they used to pray, While instructing the Prachetas with prayers to satisfy the Lord, he was teaching them how to satisfy the Lord. He was giving the prayers in 4th canto. The 4:24-44, he says, My dear Lord Shiva is telling to Krishna, My dear Lord, I wish to see you exactly in the form that your very dear devotees worship. You have many other forms, but I wish to see your form that is especially liked by the devotees. And he's telling, please be merciful upon me and show me that form. For only that form worshipped by the devotees can perfectly satisfy all the demands of the senses. What a beautiful prayer, right? Darshanam no didrikshunam dehi bhagavatarchitam rupam priyatamam swanam sarvendriya gunanjanam. Prabhupada very nicely says the purport. Thus, Lord Shiva's desire is to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is described in this way. That is, he wants to see the Lord as he appears to the Bhagavatas, the devotees. So the conclusion is that the Lord Shiva wants to see him in complete perfection and not in the impersonalist or voidist way. See, although the Lord is one in his various forms, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadam, still his form as the young enjoyer of the gopis and companions of covered boys in the Vrindavan is the most perfect form. So Vaishnavas accept the form of the Lord in his Vrindavana pastimes as the chief form. So that is, the first point is, Lord Shiva teaches pure devotional service. Second is, Vaishnavas are very dear to Lord Shiva. He says in 4:24-28, any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, the control of everything, material nature as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. So Lord Shiva is telling anyone who is surrendered to Krishna, he is very dear to me. So Prabhupada, he says, because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he loves all the devotees of Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva told the Prachetas that because they were devotees of the Lord, he loved them very much. See, Lord Shiva was not kind and merciful only to the Prachetas. Anyone who is a devotee of the Supreme Lord Krishna is very dear to Lord Shiva. Not only are the devotees dear to Lord Shiva, but he respects them as much as he respects the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So similarly, the devotees of Supreme Lord also worship Lord Shiva as the most dear devotee of Lord Krishna. The third, cheating the cheaters. See, there is a nice discussion between Shiva and Brahma, Narada, described in Shri Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Once, the great sage Narada Muni traveled to the abode of Lord Shiva and began to glorify him, saying, You are very near and dear to Supreme Lord Krishna. Not only that, you are Krishna's manifestation. You are not different from him. You can give liberation and also Krishna Prema, the rare jewel of transcendental love for Krishna. Now, hearing Narada glorify him in numerous ways, Lord Shiva became angry and said, Your glorification of me is false. I am not at all dear to Lord Shri Krishna. Lord Shiva is actually most dear to Shri Krishna. And therefore, Krishna can give him services which he cannot give anyone else. See, now out of genuine humility, Shiva told Narada, Lord Shiva told Narada, I want to be his beloved devotee, but actually I am not. See, Lord Shiva expressed to Narada his regret in having given benediction to Lord Krishna's enemies. You can see, so much he gave, right? So to fulfill the Lord's desires, Lord Shiva had given benediction to demons like Ravana, Vritasura, Salva, Jayadratha. And thus he had performed many activities that were seemingly opposed to Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. So Narada Muni is telling now, Master, please don't try to mislead me. I know that whatever you do is to please Lord Krishna and to assist him in his pastimes for the benefit of all beings. You told me that you have many times given benediction to his enemies. I know that his enemies, as well as the enemies of his devoted cousins, the Pandavas, they worship you for a real motivated benedictions, right? All the demons know. I also know that you grant them benedictions. Now, here what Narada is telling to Shiva. But those benedictions are not foolproof. They always have some loophole. Actually, cheat these beneficiaries in order to please Lord Krishna. You are undoubtedly his dearest friend. So Shiva and Narada continued to discuss some historical incidents, which according to Shiva proved that he was not dear to Krishna. But according to Narada, he proved the opposite. He is the greatest devotee of Krishna. The fourth point is clever bestower of benediction. We are seeing the qualities and characteristics of Lord Shiva. So fourth one is a clever bestower of benediction. See, Lord Shiva is known as Ashutosh because he is easily pleased and he gives benediction to everyone who worships him. Sometimes he also gives benedictions to demons. But ultimately, it is for the spiritual benefit of those demons. See, one time, the demon Salva, he was being envious of Krishna, no? And with the desire for the strength to destroy him, he took shelter of Lord Shiva. So he performed a very severe type of austerity. And he ate no more than a handful of ashes daily. After 1 year, Lord Shiva became pleased with him and asked him to beg for a boon. Now, Salva begged from Lord Shiva the gift of an airplane, which would be so strong that could not be destroyed by any demigod, demon, human being, Gandharva, Naga, or even Rakshasas. So, and moreover, he decided that the airplane was able to fly anywhere and everywhere he would like to pilot and be specifically very dangerous and fearful to the Yadus. Now, Shiva knew that no one could win over Lord Krishna. And also knew that when someone is killed by Lord Krishna, then they would definitely be liberated. So, he bestowed him the gift of the mystical airplane to Salva and indirectly gave him the most blessed benediction of being liberated by Lord Krishna. So, even when the demons who are inimical to Lord Krishna approach him for benedictions, Lord Shiva is extremely clever and grants them nice benedictions. But his inner motive is always to serve the Lord, serve Lord Krishna, and help the demons to get liberated by Lord Krishna. So, cheater, clever bestower of benedictions, right? Fifth one is ocean of compassion. The ocean of compassion. See, we find in the 8th canto of Bhagavatam, the pastime of churning the milk ocean, right? So, in this story, which is so deeply instructive, the setting is that the Asuras had conquered the Devatas, and the Devatas were in a helpless state, having lost their wealth, position, services. They were humiliated, they were embarrassed, cheated, wounded, and therefore they turned to the Lord for help. Now, the Lord asked demigods to make truce with the demons because they were more powerful at that time. So he gave something that they all could agree on. He said, churn the ocean of milk and you will get the nectar of immortality. So despite their difference, demons and devatas, on a higher principle of getting nectar, they were all willing to work together. So as they started churning the milk ocean, no, they had to encounter so many obstacles. And the all-merciful Lord Krishna helped them in every situation. So when they were churning, the whole ocean became turbulent. The first thing that came out was halahala, poison, which was a deadly poison. It was spreading instantly all over the universe. It was on the verge of extinguishing the life also. So Lord Vishnu brought all the devatas to Lord Shiva for shelter. So why should Lord Vishnu bring them all to Lord Shiva for shelter? He could have done it himself, right? Prabhupada explains this point very nicely by quoting Srila Madhavacharya that Lord Vishnu was perfectly competent to rectify the situation. But in order to glorify and give credit to his dearmost devotee Lord Shiva, he took them to Lord Shiva for protection. Just like Krishna in his universal form showed how he could destroy the entire Kuru army. But he wanted Arjuna to do it, to give the glory to Arjuna, his dearest, dearmost devotee. Similarly, the Lord wanted to give the glories to Lord Shiva, the topmost devotee. So demigods approached Lord Shiva and offered beautiful prayers to him. And Lord Shiva saw this horrible poison spreading in all directions. And out of compassion, took the whole poison and drank it. You can see in a Nilakanta. So in Bhagavatam 8:744, Shukadeva Goswami glorified Lord Shiva very nicely. Tappente lokatapena sadhava praya shojanaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya atmanah. It said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. Prabhupada says in the purport, page 739, this is a quality of a devotee. Paradukka dukhi. This means that the unhappiness of the other person is my unhappiness. And the happiness of the other person is my happiness. Whereas now here is all difficult. Ulta pulta nowadays, right? Unhappiness of the other person is my happiness. Envy, jealousy. So this is what the real meaning of being the servant of the servant. Paradukka dukhi. Without ulterior motives, to be even willing to endure difficulties to help others to be happy. So Lord Shiva is an ocean of compassion. There is no greater service that pleases the Lord than to be willing to accept inconvenience and suffering for the benefit of others. And it's for this reason it is said in Bhagavatam 12, 13, 16, Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the greatest of Vaishnavas. See, according to Vaishnava Shastras, Chaitanya Bhagavata especially explains how Sri Advaita Acharya was an expansion of Mahavishnu as well as Sadashiva, the original form of the Lord in the spiritual world, expansion of Sankarsana, right? So Advaita Acharya, right? So in a similar mood, he saw the poison of the influence of Kali Yuga spreading throughout the world, which was more dangerous than the poison that Lord Shiva drank because it was destroying the propensity of the soul's loving devotion to Krishna. So, like Lord Shiva, Advaita Acharya felt deep compassion and prayed to the Supreme Lord and cried from the core of his heart, Oh Lord Krishna, please come to this world and save these people. The poison is spreading. There has to be some shelter. Only you can do it. So, time and again, Lord Chaitanya would say, It was because of Advaita's compassion and prayers that I appeared within this world to neutralize the effects of poison by giving the nectar of his holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Next point is wonderful Vaishnava qualities of Lord Shiva. See, from the pastime of Daksha Yajna, in this chapter, we can understand the exalted characteristics exhibited by Lord Shiva. See, this is a very instructive pastime, and the sadhaka can learn many lessons from it. So in this pastime, we see Daksha, the father-in-law of Lord Shiva, if he is offended, no, seeing his son-in-law not showing him due respect during a great sacrifice. Okay. So he was offended by the fact that Lord Shiva did not stand up to welcome when he was entering the arena, right? So Daksha became greatly angry, and spoke very strongly against Lord Shiva. So hearing this, Nandishwara, one of the principal associates of Lord Shiva, became angry and started cursing Daksha. So when Daksha was angry and giving so much words and unkind words and all, what was happening here is number one, what was Lord Shiva's characters, glories? One, tolerance. Rupa Goswami mentions in Nectar of Devotion that a Vaishnava should not give unnecessary trouble to anyone. So this is the principle of Krishna consciousness that every Vaishnava should aspire to achieve. You should not give any unnecessary trouble to anyone. See, when Lord Shiva heard the cursing and counter cursing happening between Daksha and Nandishwara, he immediately left the place, as it is given in 4:33. When such cursing and counter cursing was going on between Lord Shiva's followers and the parties of Daksha and Bhrigu, Lord Shiva became very morose. Not saying anything, he left the arena of the sacrifice, followed by his disciples. So Prabhupada says in the purport, here Lord Shiva's excellent character is described. In spite of the cursing and counter cursing between the parties of Daksha and Shiva, because he is the greatest Vaishnava, he was so sober that he did not say anything. A Vaishnava is always tolerant, and Lord Shiva is considered the topmost Vaishnava. So his character as shown in this scene is excellent. He became morose because he knew that these people, both his men and Daksha's, were unnecessarily cursing and counter cursing one another without any interest in spiritual life. So from his point of view, he did not see anyone as lower or higher because he is a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava never brings disturbance to anybody. So this is a very important Vaishnava quality. Even when criticized by others, a Vaishnava does not react. He takes it as Krishna's arrangement and acts in such a way that the tense situation is diffused. The Lord Shiva is an embodiment of tolerance and compassion. And thus, he left the place immediately so that people involved in the cursing and counter cursing will stop this action, heinous action. First was tolerance. Second is compassion. Parvati Mata, the wife of Lord Shiva, expressed her desire to go for the ceremony of sacrifice performed by her father Daksha. Now, Lord Shiva, knowing well that she will be ill-treated if she goes to her father's house, he stopped her from going. Parvati, due to her familial affection to her homes, decided to go alone in spite of Lord Shiva's warning. Even though Lord Shiva was displeased, he still sent his followers to console and protect her. This shows the compassionate quality of Lord Shiva. So this is a very important quality of a Vaishnava. See, no matter how the other person hurts him, he will still try to help that person. The third point is devoid of fault-finding mentality. It's a very important point to understand. He does not have this. Mother Parvati was not welcomed appropriately by her father Vaksha when she entered the sacrificial arena. Okay. Lord Shiva told her not to go, but she went. Now she was not welcomed very nicely. Daksha did not even talk to her, his daughter, or inquire about the welfare. So this greatly angered Parvati, and she started speaking strong words against her own father. In 4:4:12, she says, "Twice born Daksha, a man like you can simply find fault in the qualities of others. Lord Shiva, however, not only finds no faults with others' qualities, but if someone has a little good quality, he magnifies it greatly. Unfortunately, you have found fault with such a great soul." So one of the main reasons behind fault-finding mentality is envy. The nature of envy is that it penetrates deep into the heart of the conditioned souls and strongly plants the seed of fault-finding mentality. So we can introspect ourselves why we are finding faults because of envy. The root cause of envy and competition is the conditioned soul's original envy towards Krishna himself. That's why we are in the middle world. We were envious of Krishna. Why he is and I should envy separately. So that position of envy is absent in the heart of a Vaishnava. Always engaged in the loving devotional service of the Lord. Now, since Lord Shiva is constantly engaged in meditation of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, he is not envious and not naturally devoid of fault-finding mentality. Another point, not tolerating the offenses against the devotees. He will tolerate, see, Mother Parvati, after accusing her father Daksha for insulting her as well as her husband Lord Shiva, prepared to give up her life because she considered her body, which is received from Daksha, to be unworthy since he blasphemed Lord Shiva. She then quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation. When Lord Shiva heard this news, he was very enraged. He also understood that Bhrigu Muni had created the Rubudeva demigods by uttering the mantras of the Yajurveda. That these demigods had driven away all of his soldiers who were present in the arena of sacrifice. So he wanted to reply to this insult. And so he decided to kill Daksha because he was the cause of the death of Sati. Lord Shiva was personally insulted strongly by Daksha. Okay. But he never lost his cool. Please understand this point. Shiva was personally insulted strongly by Daksha, no? But he never lost his cool. He tolerated those insults and did not even counterattack Daksha. But when another devotee, that is Parvati, left her body due to the harsh treatment given to her by Daksha, he destroyed the entire sacrifice as well as Daksha and his supporters. This is another quality of Vaishnava. What is that? He can tolerate all insults upon himself. He can tolerate all insults upon himself, but not when Krishna and his devotees are offended. The next point, he directs his devotees to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Now, since Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee of Supreme Lord, when a person prays to Lord Shiva sincerely, he directs him to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So in this context, there is a wonderful story where by the mercy of Lord Shiva, a Brahmana became a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. See, a Brahmana in Kashi once prayed to Lord Shiva for wealth. And Lord Shiva asked him to go and meet Sanatan Goswami in Vrindavan for the same. So as instructed, the Brahmana went to meet Sanatan Goswami. See, Sanatan Goswami, he did not have any money. So thinking of Lord Shiva and contemplating further, Sanatan Goswami remembered a touchstone he had once discarded and forgotten. Because Bhavana came and asked, as instructed by Lord Shiva, with Sanatan Goswami, so he had something very valuable, please give it to me. So at that time, he thought about this touchstone. But he had already thrown it somewhere, maybe in the dustbin also. So he asked the Brahmana to find, maybe in the, where is the dustbin there? The Brahmana found the jewel and he touched it to the iron. The iron turned into gold. That's why it's known as touchstone. He was very happy that Lord Shiva had told him to come to Vrindavan, thanked him. I'm very grateful. Then while he was going, Brahmana thought, why had Sanatana Goswami thrown the touchstone in the dustbin? It has no use for him. I mean, that means he must have still some more valuable jewels, more valuable than this. That's why he threw this. Sanatana Goswami, he asked him why he had discarded the touchstone. Now Sanatana Goswami told him that he had an invaluable touchstone which he will give him to him only when he threw the touchstone in the Yamuna. So Brahmana did so, and Sanatana gave him the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. So the Brahmana received this transcendental jewel very happily and followed his instruction and became a very elevated devotee. The Lord Shiva knew that Sanatana Goswami will give the Brahmana with pure bhakti. And so he mercifully directed the Brahmana to him, although the Brahmana had come to him for material benedictions. So these are the wonderful characteristics and qualities of Lord Shiva. Let us see now. See, Prajapati Daksha, with an intention of insulting Lord Shiva, no, he fails to invite him to a sacrifice for which all the demigods are invited. Now, duty is maternal affection, sorry. Mother Sati goes to the arena, and when Daksha failed to welcome her properly, we saw that, being insulted by his offensive attitude, she quit her body, right? We just now saw. And what did Lord Shiva do? On hearing this, he sends his men who beheaded Daksha and who had polluted the sacrificial area and thereby polluted the whole arena. When the demigods approach Lord Brahma for help, Brahmaji advises them in 464. When Lord Brahma heard everything from the demigods and the members who had attended the sacrifice, he replied, you cannot be happy in executing a sacrifice if you blaspheme a great personality and thereby offend his lotus feet. You cannot have happiness in that way. So Brahmaji is conveying a very important message that although we may perform huge sacrifices, we can never be happy if we insult, neglect, or blaspheme the devotees of the Lord. So, not realizing the greatness of Lord Shiva, Daksha insulted him in a very offensive manner in front of all the demigods, based on his bodily complexion, residence, right? So, we should remember that every living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna. And by insulting or hurting anyone, we are disrespecting the super soul within them as well. So, definitely, we cannot be happy by such actions. We should not discriminate people based on their bodily appearance, okay, or parentage or wealth. See, Rupa Goswami advises us in verse 6 of Nectar of Instruction how we should behave. He says, a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges. We sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam and mud. The Ganges waters does not become polluted. So those who are advanced in spiritual understanding, they will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. So if without realizing the value of devotee association, we spend time insulting them, then we will have to face moroseness and inauspiciousness. Just like what Daksha and his followers experienced in the sacrificial arena. So Prabhupada insists that speech is the most important symptom of Krishna consciousness, of a Krishna conscious person. And a devotee of Lord always speaks about Krishna and matters relating to him. So we should always speak kindly to others. My Guru Maharaj used to always quote very nice words from the Shastras. Priya Vakya Pradhanena Sarve Tushyanti Jantavaha Tasma Tadeva Vaktavyam Vachaneshu Kim Daridritaha. By speaking pleasing words, all the living entities are satisfied. By speaking pleasing words, all the living entities are satisfied. Therefore, always speak sweetly. Why are you so poor in your sentences? And Krishna assures us in Bhagavad Gita 10.9, one of the seed verses, Machita Madgada Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantaschamam Nityam Tushyanti Charamanticha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So we should pray at the lotus feet of Guru, Prabhupada, and Krishna, no? to guide us to see Krishna in everyone and not to offend others by thoughts, words, and deeds. In Bhagavad Gita, it is advised that one who desires to make tangible advancement in spiritual consciousness must avoid three things: lust, anger, and the mode of passion. Actually, we can see that lust, anger, and passion makes a man crazy, even though he be as great as Daksha also. So, the very name Daksha suggests that he was an expert in all material activities. But still, because of his aversion towards such a saintly person like Lord Shiva, he was attacked by these three enemies: lust, anger, and passion. See, Daksha was a great progenitor, no leader, progenitor leader, Prajapati, by dint of performing the most opulent and demanding sacrifices, charities, and austerities. Yajna, dana, tapa, karma. So, a person who acts in three ways of dharma, simply by increasing one's powerful, opulent social position, artha, then enjoying kama, then resultant profit, labha, adoration, puja, fame, pratishtha, then it's called a karmi. But at the same time, Daksha was a devotee. That's why he was a mixed, Mishra devotee, materialistic, Kama Mishra Bhakta. Similarly, a devotee whose service propensity to the Lord is slackened by his eagerness to gain knowledge is called a Jnana Mishra Bhakta. So when one is a mixed devotee, one has a problem with pride. Because the ulterior motivation to become recognized for one's skills or knowledge, the course of performing bhakti is there. Sometimes Krishna has to give that devotee a slap so that he will be able to shake off that prideful motivation. Now, since we wanted to enjoy apart from Krishna Leelas, we are given a chance here to try out our own Leela. By the help of Maya's making an illusory wonderland for us, created this manifestation. But sooner than later, we are slapped awake to reality. That is the end of that Leela, our Leela. So in the material world, whatever we try to accomplish by our hard labor, although at first it may seem, oh, very nice, good result, eventually transform into exact opposite of what we tried for. The reason is because this material world is a reformatory place. This material world is a reformatory place, prison house. And our merciful mother, Maya, she doesn't want us to live in a cuckoo's land for too long. So as in the case of Daksha, he wanted to gain fame and as a great person. And after doing so many dharmic yajnas, charities, and austerities, he got the result. Whenever he came into an assembly, everyone raised their seats and praised him. But later, after offending Shiva, they became severely humbled and infamous, getting his head replaced by a goat. That is because Daksha is an example of a leader seemingly doing dharma. Okay, but actually, because of the ulterior motives of enjoying dharma, secondary effects of sense gratification, he was doing it pretentiously. So this kind of untrue performance is called Kuta Dharma. Oh, he didn't do adharma like Ravana or dharma like Lord Rama. He did Kuta Dharma, which is sometimes said to be even worse than adharma because it misleads people to hell in the name of being very religiously sound. That's why in 4:370, Daksha was condemned. Although the six qualities of education, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth, and heritage are for the highly elevated, one who is proud of possessing them becomes blind, and thus he loses good sense and cannot appreciate the glories of great personalities. So the Sanskrit word used here is asattama itaraihi, means having the opposite result to those who are not great souls. So one is not sattama, or good-hearted. One is apt to become overcome by pride, lust, envy. That's why Kunti Maharani warns everybody against this in her famous prayer, no, that we should rather be akinchana, asset free, because Krishna is akinchana vitta, only wealth of those disinterested in material assets. So when a devoted leader distracts into secondary aspects or like dharma, the enjoyment, power, all these things, he says he has lost everything. He's lost his head. That's what happened to Daksha. It exemplifies the danger of Mishra Bhakti. So in this material world, we identify each other based on bodily relationship and fail to see all living entities with spiritual vision. So as a result, what happens? There's always some quarrel or misunderstanding, and we feel disturbed. And these thoughts, they keep troubling our minds. So through this pastime of Daksha Yajna, Prabhupada is teaching us how we can forget such thoughts and give up the bodily concept of life. So in this Agya we saw, right? He started giving insulting words to Lord Shiva, and Sati, she did not hear Lord Shiva telling when he told him not to go, but she went, and she was also insulted, and she gave up her life. So her inner intention was not to just see her family red when she went, but to reveal to Daksha about the glories of Lord Shiva and make him realize his mistake. Because he was not invited. So at the sacrificial, she realized that Daksha had not only failed to invite Lord Shiva, but he had not welcomed Sati also. And again missed to keep oblations for Lord Shiva also. So she chastised Daksha, so decided to quit the body given by her father Daksha. That's why Maitri Muni very nicely explains in 4.4.27. Sati concentrated all the meditation on the holy lotus feet of her husband Lord Shiva, who is the supreme spiritual master of all the world. Thus she became completely cleansed of all taints of sin and quit her body in a blazing fire by meditation on the fiery elements. Prabhupada says in the purport, Sati Devi at once thought of the lotus feet of her husband Lord Shiva, who is one of the three great personalities of Godhead in charge of the management of the material world. And simply by meditating on his lotus feet, she derived such great pleasure that she forgot everything in relation with her body, including her father. So in this verse, Charanam Mujaswa means nectar of the lotus feet, and Chintayati means meditating. Hatak Kalmasha means the taints of sin being destroyed. So Prabhupada nicely explains what is taint of sin. He says that the sin or contamination was the concept of identifying her body to be derived from Daksha. And by meditation of Lord Shiva's lotus feet, she became free from this bodily relationship. So Prabhupada further says, by this example, we can appreciate the devotee's pleasure in concentrating his mind and attention on the lotus feet of Supreme Lord Krishna. There is such transcendental bliss, no, in simply meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, that one can forget everything. And we can only have the darshan of the Lord. This is the perfection of yogic samadhi or ecstasy. That's why in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 20.108, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatana Goswami, Jivera Swarupa Haya, Krishnera Nitya Dasa, Krishnera Tatastha Shakti, Bheda Bheda Prakasha. It is living and it is constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna because he is the marginal energy of Krishna. So when we can realize our soul's natural position and that all our relatives are also the servants of Krishna, then we can forget our bodily relationships. Now, because on our past karmic creations and will of the Supreme Lord, some souls are accompanying us as father, mother, husband, wife, brother, sister in our life journey. But all souls can be satisfied simply by serving Lord Krishna. Just like how all our parts of the body is nourished simply by feeding the stomach. So Prabhupada explains by quoting Bhagavatam verse 2:4-15, Yat Kirtanam Yat Smaranam. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord Krishna, simply by remembering the lotus feet of Krishna, and simply by offering prayers to Supreme Lord Krishna, one is immediately freed from the material contamination, the material bodily concept by the blazing fire of ecstasy. So this effect takes place immediately without second stealing. So let us all remember and follow the instructions of Shiva Prabhupada, remember the lotus feet of the Lord, and burn the bodily concepts of life by blazing fire of ecstatic devotional service. So Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nita Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Prabhupada Madajis, for giving me this opportunity to glorify the Lord on this auspicious day of Narasimha Jayanti. And let us all take from the wonderful lessons of Lord Shiva what we have to do, and from Lord Daksha what we should not do. So this is very nice lessons. More and more we can just get attracted to this lotus feet of Krishna. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. If you have any questions or anything to share, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanapnam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Uttam Damar Prabhu. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you,
Please
Prabhuji. Hare
share
Krishna.
the recording, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
It is so wonderful. It is difficult to remember every single thing you shared. So I will listen to it again, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Prabhu, I had a question, but it's not directly related to our class today, but there was a statement that you made that Shiva is also Param Guru. Is that correct? The eternal spiritual master, is that correct?
Yes, Prabhu, because he is
Okay.
directing us towards Krishna.
Krishna. So how do we
Yeah,
compare Balram? Also, we say that he's Param Guru.
yes, correct,
How do we
correct, yeah, that's true.
understand that? Though I'm not here in a challenging mood, I'm wanting
I
to be
know.
in an understanding mood from you, because you made it so nicely. Especially the pastime of Daksha and Shiva was something that all the devotees should really learn from. So I thought this is a question which I should ask you to clarify a little bit. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, I'll try whatever is within my capacity, whatever I understand. May be correct or may not correct. Because actually, of course, Balram, as we know, is a greatest supreme spiritual master. But see, what I felt was anything you relate to Krishna and directing towards Krishna, he is a guru. So by that time, for example, our spiritual masters and all. So Lord Shiva is one of these three, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, right? So he's the topmost in that case. And if we see in the Prachetas, first time the Prachetas, he was very much happy with the Prachetas being completely surrendered to the lotus feet of Krishna. So and plus he is giving prayers that he is very much satisfied who prays towards Krishna, who surrenders to Krishna, who glorifies the Lord Supreme. So he is very much happy satisfied with them, and also he is very much respects those people also. So that way, he's a guru. In fact, you can see in the pastime of the demon, he gives benedictions to demonic people, right? But it's not foolproof. There is some loophole is there. So indirectly, he is helping Krishna in his pastimes. So he is directing them by giving this benediction towards Krishna only. So ultimately, the one who is directing everyone towards Krishna to glorify the Lord, surrender to Krishna, he is a guru. So based on that, I think I felt. So I hope, Prabhu, to some extent, I will be some useful. Hare Krishna.
Absolutely, Prabhu. That was a wonderful explanation. And I'm sure, as you rightly said, anybody who directs us towards Krishna is a guru. So rightfully, especially with Lord Shiva, because he is a Param Vaishnava and he's always meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and exhibits all the qualities that a devotee should really exhibit. So I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. In fact, the other point is there is a guru like Shukracharya in the episode, right? In Bali Maharaj. He is a guru, a great Brahmana. He is a guru of Bali Maharaj. But he was telling not to surrender to Vamandev. So then he is not the right guru, right? So see, although he is a guru, but he is telling not to go to Krishna, not to surrender to Krishna. Then, although he's a guru, but he's not a guru at that point. So that is also something we can think over. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, for bringing that point.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yes, Prabhuji, Mother, anybody else who wants to share or any questions? Otherwise, I can stop from here. Jai. नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You have made everybody's day on this auspicious day. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Okay. So let me stop here. Hare Krishna. Jai.